Okay, we got the C10 all sealed up. Got all of the seals, the window jamb seals. So we're able to store it outside now. And this leaves us with all kinds of room for activities in here. So we can go ahead and do some more work on the Firebird. Now, I've been letting it sit up on purpose for about the last 6 months just to see if any of the filler is gonna blister or any of the paint is gonna flake off, and everything is held up really good. So we're gonna go ahead and spray on some more sandable primer, try to get it smoothed out, and then we can go ahead and start jamming it with the paint and go ahead and put on all of the skirts and spoilers and whatnot, and continue to go on to get it all painted up. So the plan here is I want to get it in here diagonally so you've got plenty of room all the way around to spray and sand and all that. And we got the Harbor Freight special car dollies, and I'm sure there's going to be some assembly required. So I think what I'll do is get those put together first and throw on the wheels and move it around in here until we get plenty of room around the car. So I'm gonna get started on that. Okay, now we got all our dollies put together, we can throw the wheels on there, air up the tires, lower it on the dollies, and get it jockeyed around in here. Okay, 32 psi. Okay, 32 psi. Okay, now that we got all our tires aired up, we can jack it up, pull our jack stands, get it on the dollies, and shuffle it around in here. Okay, now the question is, will it roll? We will see. Oh yeah, quite easily. Okay. Looks like we're a little close to the wall here. So, maybe this way a little bit, and back here, we got plenty of room with the door open. So, I think that's about where we want it. Alright, now we just got to reverse the process, get it back on the jack stands, pull all the wheels off, and we'll be ready to work on it. Okay, I've got a little bit of debris trapped in this sealer paint. A few spots here and there, and I need to try to sand it out. It's sealer paint and it won't sand very good, but I want to get these little spots before I spray on more sandable primer and just knock down a few little places where it trapped junk in the paint. And for instance, that need to try to get that sanded out before we spray on more primer, because that's a pretty good lump right there. So I'm gonna go around and try to knock some of that down and wipe the whole thing down so we can get some more primer on it. Couple low spots right in here and here when I was sanding, so I'm gonna knock it down with the 80 grit and then smooth it out with the 180. Okay, I got my glazing compound all sanded flat, and all these little spots here and there that had a little bit of debris caught in it. Got it pretty well sanded down. I blew it all down and wiped it down with a damp cloth, and this time I used lint-free. So gonna come in tomorrow and spray on the sandable primer and put several coats on, and then I'm gonna block the whole car out, and hopefully this will be the last coat of primer before we go ahead and start spraying on the black. So I'll come in tomorrow and see how much we can get done. Okay, it's the next day and I got some primer mixed up, and I'm just gonna go ahead and spend the whole day laying coats of primer down. Start with the roof, go to the hood, the deck lid, and then the sides, and repeat several times. So we're gonna get to painting. Okay, it's a couple hours later and I've got several coats on, and I put a few extra layers on spots where I could see defects. Got a little bit of run there, got some of this chalky haze from overspray, but that's okay, it'll all sand out. Gonna let it set for a day or two so it cures really good, and then we'll start blocking everything out. So gonna let it set, come back and do some sanding. All right, it's a couple days later and all this primer is cured up really good, and I've been doing a whole lot of sanding, some with a little palm DA, just kind of knocking down all of the haze and that kind of stuff. And I got most of the hood, still got more on that fender. Got to do a lot of hand sanding over here. This door has just been giving me hell. I went to sand it and I could see there's still low spots, so got some glazing compound, filled it in, some spot putty. I'm gonna have to respray this area, sand it again. But for the most part, it's coming out good. The flat part of the roof, I can run the DA over. Still got some overspray over there. And I've been doing this fender. I still got these like little wavy spots over here that got to be sanded out. I got the little round tube blocks, the Dura blocks, and you can get up in round spots, or curves rather. And still got a lot to do on this deck lid, some really rough spots here, and all this overspray here. But I think here in a little while I'll start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I gotta get the 3-piece spoiler, and what I think I'm gonna do is when I go to jam the doors, I'm gonna spray these areas, spray where the skirts go and where the spoiler goes, then bolt them on so that everything gets painted at once. The only thing I'm not gonna paint together is the hood, because it's not that hard to take on and off. Now doors and fenders, trying to get them aligned, oh man, I learned from the Camaro, just leave them on and paint them. it's you know, I chip paint on it and it's gonna need some touch up and stuff, but I think with a few more days of work, we can possibly start jamming everything. Got to clean all the dust up and everything, but enough talking. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing a bunch more sanding. Okay, I spent the rest of yesterday just doing a bunch of sanding, and today I need to spray on some more primer. I discovered that the lower half of this door, I really didn't get enough sandable primer on it. The primer sealer is kind of clotting up the paper, and of course I've got to get this filler over here sprayed over with some primer and block that out again. And I've got my little vent things over here. I guess they're called gills, maybe not, I don't know, but they need some primer on them so we can get them all sanded down and smoothed out. So I'm gonna mix up some primer. Went over to Riley's and got the little quart size. I think that should be enough to finish things up. So we're going to get this mixed up and spray on some more primer. Okay, so next weekend, and I've got both of these doors sanded out really good over the week, doing a little bit here and there, and they're turned out pretty good. The quarters are looking pretty good. I did a bunch of hand sanding up here on the nose and found a few little defects and filled them in with spot putty. But now the roof, I found a lot of little gouge marks from when I was stripping the paint off. Yeah, it was really bad. But I got them all filled in with some spot putty. Got it all sanded down. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just put a layer of primer over the whole roof and some spots here. And little spots, just spot spray, different areas there. And get it all sanded down. And then we're gonna see if we can start jamming the doors and underneath where the spoiler goes and the skirts and all that stuff. And then get all those parts bolted on so we can just spray the whole car together, except for the hood. I'm gonna unbolt it and paint it separately. So we're gonna go ahead and hopefully spray the last of our primer, get it sanded out, and we'll be ready to paint. Okay, I got my spoiler out, all of it, the ends too, and did a little spot putty here and there, little pits and stuff. Got them sanded down, so while I got primer mixed up, I'm gonna get a good coat on these too. Okay, got the roof all sprayed down, covered up all the little spot putty and a few spots here and there. And meanwhile, I've been sanding the rest of the car down with 320. So we're finally starting to get there where we can start spraying the jambs, and I'm gonna spray right here where the skirts go, and this area here and here where the spoiler goes. And got the spoiler sprayed down really good. Got a few runs on there, but that's okay. We'll get them sanded out. So we can afford some base coat at least. We can go ahead and start spraying here and there and getting it ready to spray the whole thing. So I'm gonna let this cure for a couple of days and then block that out with 320, and I think we'll be ready to go. Okay, it's the next weekend, and I got the roof all sanded down with 320. I've got the spoiler sanded down really good. Make sure everything's gonna fit. that's just kind of sitting there. When it gets tightened down, it'll straighten up. That too. So I've got my fender flares. The little trim pieces just keep wanting to peel back, so I heat it up really good with the heat gun, and I got them zip tied down. Hopefully they'll stay there. And I got the little thin pieces sanded down. All the little rough spots, I've been going over it. Hours and hours of sanding. Did a whole bunch of hand sanding on the nose piece. And I've got my base coat. I already got clear coat. I was gonna spray it tomorrow, but it's gonna be pouring rain. And I really don't wanna spray that with the doors closed. I'm gonna asphyxiate myself, so I'll probably just do a little more dusting down and cleaning up and a little bit more sanding. Most likely I'm gonna do the jams and stuff next weekend. But for now, I just thought I'd kind of do a little update on progress. And hopefully next weekend we can get everything assembled, all the pieces, the gills, do the jams, paint inside the trunk. I'll probably take the hood off, paint it separately. But it's coming along. I think I'm finally done with all the major sanding. There may be a few little things, but tomorrow, a rainy day, would be a good day to just keep going over it and try to make sure I got every little thing. So that's about it for today, because you know, you can only video so much block sanding. It's hours and hours. So next time we start videoing again, we might be spraying the jams. We'll see. Okay, it's the next day, and it's raining out there pretty good. I was gonna come in and just scuff up these door jams, but then I realized this is lacquer, and if I spray the base coat clear coat over it, we might get a bad reaction, some wrinkling and whatnot. So I guess I'm gonna spend the rainy day with the little stripper pads, strip it all down, spray some primer on it. That way we don't have to worry about a bad reaction. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. Okay, I got the door jams pretty much stripped down, wiped down with a prep spray. Got this door jam pretty well cleaned up. This down here already has primer on it because we replaced the rocker panel. Got up along in here, so just gonna spray a little bit of primer on it, and then we'll be ready to spray our jams. Okay, got everything sprayed down quite nicely, all cleaned up, and that jam. Now, just got to do the other side. Okay, we got our door jambs all cleaned up and primered, and both sides are all cleaned up and ready to spray on the base coat. And we'll give it about a week to dry so that primer is all cured up. Next weekend, I think I'm going to get some help cleaning out all the dust and wiping down everything, and hopefully we can get these jambs sprayed out, all of the spots where all of the accessories go, and get them bolted down, and we'll be ready to spray everything and put on our clear coat, hopefully. We'll see how it goes, but that's going to be about it until next weekend, where hopefully we can get a whole lot done. Okay, it's the next weekend, and today I think I'm going to get some help. We got to get everything all dusted out, cleaned up, so we can start spraying our jambs, and dust down the shop, get everything ready. Every time you blow, more dirt and junk comes up, so we need to do some thorough cleaning in here, and then we can proceed to do our spot spraying where all our trim pieces go, get all the dust out of the inside. I noticed when I was blowing over here, dust coming out of the door, so I'm gonna need some help. So we're gonna get this thing cleaned up today. Okay, we got everything blown down, vacuumed down, wiped down, got all the dust and dirt out of here, and wet down the floor, put tack cloth all over the painted surfaces, and I think now I'm ready to mix up some base coat. And like I said before, we're gonna spray where the trim pieces go, the jambs, and then we can put on all of our little trim pieces and fender flares and whatnot, so that when we go to paint it, it'll be all together and paint everything at once. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some paint mixed up. Yummy. It's delicious. Stuff's pretty thin, so maybe just a little reducer. And we'll put it in the gun and see how it sprays. Okay, it's a little thick, but I think it'll work. Okay, we got pretty much all of the jam sprayed down. Even went under here and sprayed at least one coat on the rockers and where our fender flares go, and little vent dealies, and back here where the spoiler's gonna go. And it's pretty well dried up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start bolting this stuff on so that next weekend we can come in and see if we can spray this car down without screwing up the paint. So we're gonna get to bolting some stuff on. Does it feel tight?
Yep, that's secure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Alright, hold it right there. See if I can get my hand up in here. That's one. Might be able to get fit my hand in there. All right. Okay. See if we can get this in here. Reach down in this little cubby hole. And get one of these nuts started. Screw. Oh, it's way down there. Sure it's tight. We don't want that flying off down the road. Okay. Way down in there. This time now. Okay, starting to look like a Trans Am now. Okay, we got our little vent things all screwed on, our fender flares, front and rear, got our spoiler on. Got our fender flares on over here, little vent thing, and now we can just spray the whole thing and not have to worry about scratching and chipping paint while we're bolting things on. We'll just spray the whole thing. So it's really looking cool now. It's hasn't had the fender flares on it for a while. Had to do a lot of patching with fiberglass and whatnot, but they're all good now. So we're gonna get it lowered down just a little bit so I can spray the roof better, and then we'll be painting it. Okay, we got a new member to our team. That's Midnight, and her where'd she go?
She's around the corner.
Micro. Her big sister passed away, so
Here's Micro.
we got her a little buddy so that to keep her company. So she just cute as a button right there. And hopefully she'll get a little bit bigger.
We hope.
Yeah, she's kind of tiny. So I think this is where I'm going to end this video. And next time around, we'll be spraying the whole car and putting on some clear coat. We appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you next time.